Okay, what are three structures found in every cell? That's one. That's why it's so long. Cytoplasm, membrane. Cell membrane. That's right. So if that's what they are, what do they do? In other words, what does the plasma membrane do? What do we call it? Boundary. That's a boundary because what does it do? It creates a boundary. I get that, but when it creates a boundary, why is that significant? We drew a couple examples of this up on the board. For instance, when it comes to people who maybe take opioids, okay, then a treatment for that is this substance called Narcan. What does that do? I understand this is a highly advanced, probably physiological application, but maybe it's something that you heard of or seen before in the news, or where maybe this kind of makes sense. What does that Narcan do to your cell membrane? It makes it shrink. No, it doesn't make it shrink. It can't get into the cell and have its effects. Why might that be? It creates what on your cell membrane? We said it creates a barrier on the cell membrane, so as the receptor site gets blocked, so it doesn't allow those drugs to get inside of your cell. And I'm sure throughout the course of Mom's career, you ever heard of a UA test? It's called a urinary analysis test. Truck drivers have to do them. Bus drivers have to do them. What might be, what's the reason for those? Why do certain people have to do urinalysis tests? Of drug testing, that's right. So when that happens, when people may take marijuana, for instance, and it's on a month-by-month basis, oh, I just got tested, so I don't have to worry about that for probably 2 months. Doesn't it stay in your system for a while? It stays in your system for a long time. That's right. So the reason for that is it can't exit through the system very easily, because the only way to get rid of that is through a brain barrier, a blood barrier in your brain. Okay? So what is not released in your central nervous system, it circulates throughout your body. Okay? Then a little more circulates through your body. Eventually, it will be filtered out, but we're talking about weeks, not days. That's where people who choose to do those recreational type drugs, unfortunately, may be caught or apprehended and dealt with at that time. But unfortunately, some people who take some of these opioids, it's not just the idea it remains in your system, but it can do what to you? It'll kill you. Okay? You just don't realize that. So people, first responders, may use this substance that we call Narcan. What that does is that creates a barrier inside the cell so it cannot get in. Okay? So as long as it's circulating throughout your system, eventually it will be filtered out. But in that case, that will save someone's life. All right. So we've got the plasma membrane that creates a barrier called the gatekeeper. Okay. So what's the nucleus? What's that significance? Okay. Say that again. You're right. General form of speaking. It's the head of operation. Okay. In other words, it's trying to tell that cell what to do, because inside that cell is the what? That directs all the cellular activities. It's 3 letters long. DNA. The DNA is found in the nucleus. That's right. And then finally, the third structure that we would find in all cells would be what? We said nucleus, we said cell membrane. Now you can use that example that you said. Well, it can inflate or it can shrink because of what's found inside the cell. The cytoplasm, which is mainly what? Water. So that may inflate or it may shrink. Inflate or may shrink. All right. So we left off with yesterday where you had seen an example. There'll be a more better example. Grammatically correct. Say a better example of what adrenaline does to or for us. Okay? For those of you who want to take anatomy and physiology, we talk about different types of hormones, which adrenaline is one. Okay? When you say, well, that's a steroid. Well, yeah, I understand it's a steroid, but they are also considered as hormones as well. And that adrenaline will do one of two things. Okay? Or I should say it does one thing mainly, and that's flood your bloodstream with glucose. And when it does that, does it take a lot of energy to do that, or by doing that, does it give you energy? By doing that, it gives you energy. That's quick. Okay? If you've ever been driving down the road, you see something out of the corner of your eye, and it scares you, or a deer runs across the road. All of a sudden, you notice you're going through different physiological changes. What might that be? Probably the biggest one is in your chest. Your heart rate skyrockets. Okay? What that's doing is your body's preparing for what you consider either a flight or fight response, because it's still something that frightens you. And you'll notice you can't even perceive the time from which you see that animal to all of a sudden your heart rate going up. Just that fast. Okay? And that's one of the things that keeps us out of harm's way. All right. So I don't know what time frame we left off with, but we continue. That.
Walking or running, but for bringing a deer down alone. The muscle's extra weight is a drag on her speed. Before she can charge, she has to creep unseen to about 50 feet from the deer. She's close enough now to be spotted, but too far away to begin her attack. This is when she starts to stalk her prey, gambling on stealth and camouflage. The deer continues eating, but its senses are on red alert. The tiger's now almost in range. Then the deer sees her. And its brain throws the emergency switch. Accelerator nerves cut in, and the heart races. The blood is flooded with sugar and shoved toward the legs. The deer accelerates like a sprinter. Huge muscles in the torso drive lightweight legs. The leg bones are stretched. Even the feet are stretched to extend the legs and allow long, almost flying strides. But everything in the deer's body is matched by something in the tiger's. Her skeleton transforms a muscle-bound heavyweight into an athlete. Her long hind legs act like coiled springs as she accelerates. Shoulder blades move freely to lengthen her front legs, and smooth, rounded vertebrae give her backbone almost elastic flexibility. And her foot bones, like the deer's, are extended to maximize stride length. She's now covering 20 feet with every stride. The tiger will eat. This time, the flexible skeleton triumphs over the flying lightweight. You're watching. Just one of this throng would feed the bear and her cubs for 3 days. But the story is the same as for predators everywhere. She only has to catch one. Bears, though, aren't built like tigers. They can go fast enough over short stretches, but haven't the tiger's stealth nor its flexible skeleton. She has strength and size, but this time that's just not enough. As the caribou move on, the bear gives up the chase and instead does what bears are really good at, making the best of things. They simply eat the meals of their herbivore prey. The formidable bear looks ill-suited to eat such food. But at this time of year, these young shoots are tender, and the bear has the perfect solution for harvesting them. It's in the same order of mammals as the tiger, as all the cats and the dogs. It's a carnivore, but it's the most versatile one. Inside its mouth, there are 2 kinds of teeth. In front, the tiger-like canines for eating flesh. And at the back, the deer-like grinding molars, which can unlock the energy from grass. This hybrid jaw might just ward off starvation, but the family is going to have to find something more substantial to increase their chances of survival. As warm-blooded mammals, they have an expensive heating system to stoke. The balance between life and death is fine, yet for some it's a razor's edge, an existence that's more dead than alive. To be cold-blooded is to be just as warm as your surroundings. This means that the python couldn't survive in a place like Alaska, but this tropical Australian forest is fine. The snake's safe from freezing, but it doesn't store much energy. It doesn't chase its prey, it just waits for it. And so that it doesn't starve while it's waiting, it must enter another dimension. The snake shuts itself down. Only its senses will stay partly switched off. knows where to wait for a moving target to come into view. And that's a rodent trail, marked out by the chemicals in their urine. It's like a fully lit highway to the python. As it settles in, the python tastes the air with its forked tongue, savoring the neighborhood's precise chemical composition. Now it's located in ambush position. It waits, and waits, and waits. Hours pass, days pass, and as they pass, the snake's metabolism, its internal activity, gets slower and slower. Thermal imaging can show what in many other animals would be signs of a slow death. Weeks pass, and metabolism slows to a crawl. A whole month, and there's still no sign of a meal. The python's alive, but only just. Its body is as close to death as a living body can be. The stomach, heart, and kidneys are shrunk to a third of their original size. The snake could easily cross the line. And then, the thermal image can compare the stone-cold python to a warm-blooded animal practically boiling with metabolic activity. All that energy reactivates the python's senses. And the whole snake stirs. The heat-sensing pits along the python's upper jaw beam in on the hot rat. The rat's cover is blown. The snake has been on the brink, and it needs to come back quickly. If it doesn't digest the rat fast enough, it could still be too late. The long-awaited meal begins a massive transformation as its body starts to rise from the dead. The last remaining reserves of fat kickstart the system. Cells in the gut start to swell until the surface area increases 20-fold to quickly take as much energy as possible from the meal. As the snake comes back to life, its metabolism can increase 44 times. From a cold start, this predator is now working relatively as hard as a running bear. By the time the snake gears down again, the energy from the rat will stretch a very long way. By flirting with death, pythons can survive without a meal for 2 years. But for an active grizzly and her cubs, 2 days is too long. Their period without food will come in the winter. Summer is the time for piling on fat. She knows that now is the season when the salmon come up the river to spawn. This year, she's scavenged on carcasses, chased caribou, and eaten grass. Now she's a fishing bear. There are plenty of fish.
But depending upon what time of year it is for these animals, if they have to go into survival mode and they catch these prey items, if they need a large amounts of fat, out of the salmon, what would you guess would be the most nutrition, would give them the most nutrition to put on fat? Not muscle, but put on fat. The skin would be one that really sound, fish don't have much fat. Not so much the eggs, I suppose it could be, but think about it up here. The brain, even though it's not much of a brain at all, but they would certainly eat the brain of the fish as well. Just put on more fat. Okay, we'll continue with this again on Monday.
I see we got a few views on here, so some of you are watching some of these videos, probably those of you that are in Spanish. Oh well.